Wait for a few more people to get in the room here. And then I think we're going to give it to Antoine. He's got some info for you guys. And then I think Mark's going to give an update on the servers. And then Jason's going to talk about one of the events that's upcoming that I think everybody will be excited about. So let's see. Do we have everybody in here? Okay, Antoine. Yeah, take it away. This is Antoine. He's one of the directors of Nextcloud.
Thanks, Dr. Parker. I really appreciate it. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to be on our tech update call. This is not an overview call. It's not an opportunity call. We take this moment in time to really kind of let the community know where we are from a tech standpoint with the devices. If you are new and you are hoping to get more information in terms of how this works because someone maybe just shared the opportunity with you, I'm sorry, this is not the call for that. We will start having true overview calls for that situation for people who want to understand exactly how the opportunity works, exactly what you can do, how you can invest, and so forth. But that's not on this call. However, I will give you some homework for those of you that are new. If you have not done so, go to the website, read our white paper. That is going to be your homework because to read that white paper gives you a full scope and understanding of truly what we have our hands on and the opportunity that is before us. That would be the homework that I would give you. I would encourage each and every one of you, those of you who have bought shares and have received free NFTs and have decided to purchase your nano server, read the white paper, do it again, read it 2 and 3 times, because again, it's going to give you something that maybe you missed the first time to understand the scope of really what we have our hands on. So let's talk about where we are in terms of the shipment of the nano servers. I think it's crucial that we understand that this group obviously are the beta tester group. I mean, that is the purpose of this group. And it's because of you that it is allowing us to discover things, identify some things that maybe we could not have done so without you. And there's a reason why, as you receive your devices, that the tokenomics may be a little different, where you receive a little bit more than the norm, because there's only going to be one launch. There's only going to be a one first time of a shipment of these nano servers. And as we go down the road, people won't go through some of the things that we are going through because of, again, being the beta testing group. So in identifying as we were ready to ship out these nano servers, we first discovered the first week, we discovered there was some vulnerability from a security standpoint. And then the tech team, they did identify that vulnerability. They then resolved that issue, solved that problem. And then with that, they discovered that when the device is disconnected from the internet, it does not reboot itself, which means you would have to go back home if you're away from home to reboot that device. Obviously, that's not acceptable. That's not what we want you to do. And so now the tech team is having sleepless nights to discover what the issue is that is keeping that from rebooting on its own, because we want it to reboot on its own. The last thing that we want to do is on the first shipment out to ship out these servers, which are ready to go, by the way, but we don't want to ship out these nano servers and then all of a sudden you have to ship them back. That's the last thing we want to happen. So at this point, the tech team has been working around the clock to identify what the issue is on the reboot. They wanted to reboot, no different than an upload, even with your for example, your iPhone. When there's an update on your iPhone, you don't have to reboot it; just automatic updates on its own. And that's the kind of software that's installed in these devices that we want to work when you have the device. And until we are sure that will be the case, then we won't ship those devices. But we are very, very close. And I know we have our lead tech developer here who may even have some great news for us, which I'm hoping he does. But I can tell you there's been some sleepless nights There's been some sleepless nights as the tech team has been working round the clock to resolve that issue so that everyone feels comfortable with the shipment of these devices. And so I will turn this call over now to our lead tech, Mr. Mark Hanna.
Thank you so much, Antoine. Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed. Thanks so much, Buck. And I want to just commend this group for being willing to take a chance and being a beta tester. We've been working very diligently, and just to encapsulate on a technical side, what Antoine has shared is that we did discover some vulnerabilities early, and we resolved them by maybe recoding about 80% of the software that runs on these servers. When we closed that up, we actually realized that now when we connect the first time and you're online, as long as everything's perfect, you start earning right away, no issues. What we've learned, though, is that in the instance that if you lose internet connection for the 5 seconds, 4 to 6 seconds, each ISP is a little different, then what happens, this device actually does what it's supposed to do. It shuts down your pod and it tells a master node, spin up another pod, and because you're offline. And even though you're coming back online, the master node doesn't want to talk to you anymore because he's going to give you about 10 minutes. And it most likely, what we've been seeing, it takes a little time for this thing to even register that node is healthy again. So what we have to do, what we've isolated, that's what's the problem. So there's 2 pods that are there's 2 nodes talking to each other. So we're writing code now, and we started last night to stop that process, right? So before we didn't have that problem because the box was pretty open. So the box was able to tell us, I'm back online. But now we shut that because that was actually a vulnerability. Like the moment that it died, we kind of left it open to wait to talk to us again, but you can get right in it at that point. So now it's shut. So although it's telling us we're online, no one's listening to it. So we're in the process of writing something right now. So we found that that's the problem. We just didn't know why when you disconnected it wouldn't connect. So we just had to do a lot of troubleshooting. And when we were able to find out what was going on, now we're able to write something. So we started writing something last night to kind of switch the way that the machine is actually dealing with itself when that pod goes offline. We actually kind of tell the system, we'll tell the master node, I'm offline, I'll be back, please check back. And we're talking to each other. Now, I will say this, one of the things that we did learn, and you guys that probably have wallets are starting to see it, is that everything is interconnected. So when we change something on this box and secure it, it affects the chain and everything. And so we've been actually probably about 30–40% of the stuff that runs on our chain stuff, we've been having to update it to deal with the way that this box is talking to us. So I think on a high level that we're closer than we've ever been. The technology that pushes this is just simply amazing. It's unfathomable what we're doing. We just brought in another DevOps guy, a lead guy from he's in Sacramento, and just when he came in and saw where we were, he was just amazed. So I want you guys to kind of be patient with us. I want every time I say we're in another day or so, because we actually could ship these, but what would end up happening, just like Antoine said, if you ever got offline, you just look on your device, your phone, and it would say not connected, and you'd have to go and turn the machine off, turn it back on, and then it would reconnect. It would know that it would start this whole cycle, but we don't want to do that. So we don't want to say when, because I kind of got tired of just saying when, but what I am going to say is that everyone who's on the call is because of you guys being so patient. There's 33 people. Anyone who's in the line to buy one of these things, I think there's 56 total that I'm looking at right now. That the directors have decided we're going to give you guys a free NFT. So just to kind of compensate you guys a little bit and let you know that we appreciate you working with us. If there was a way that I could lay aside my high standards, I'd send it. Or if there's a way I could hire probably 20 developers and write it in one night, we would. But the truth of the matter is it just takes time. If I showed you my computer screen and what it looks like, it's almost like Greek, almost to me. be honest with you. But we're super excited, and I'm gonna kind of hand this over to Jason, and hope you guys the next time we have a tech update, this is going to be next Tuesday. Prayerfully that there'll be a different story. You guys will be talking about your devices and what's happening. Go ahead, Jason.
Listen, I appreciate that, Mark. I hope I get an NFT as well. But one of the things I wanted to share with you guys is that, following up on what Mark just recently said, we really feel confident as a company in regards to the direction that we're going, where we are, what we have. And in lieu of the level of confidence that we have as a company, we have decided that we feel that we're not relegated to simply where we are today, but we actually have to forecast where we're going to be in the next 2 months, 3 months, the next quarter, the last quarter of this year. What does that look like? So as a company, we've decided that we are going to participate in one of the largest blockchain expos on the planet. So let me share this with you guys as to what the intent is and where we will be. Let me just share my screen. You all should be able to see my screen. This is called Blockchain Life 2024. And Nextcloud will be here. This is on October 22nd to the 23rd. Now, I'm sharing this with you because I'm sure you may know some individuals in that area that may want to attend if you cannot attend yourself. There are those more than likely who will see this event and simply say, you know what, I want to attend. Now, one of the things that's very interesting, this company does this twice a year. It is that big that they have to break it up in 2 sessions, one in the early parts of the year and then the latter part of the year as well. There is something that we will be participating in. It's called the Startup Pitch. Let me just click on that so everybody can be able to see that. And the Startup Pitch is where some of the brightest companies that are looking to participate, who've just launched, can come here to this event, which is probably one of the most renowned events that they have. Where if you are a startup, you have a small period of time, somewhere between 3 minutes to 15. And obviously, the more time you take, the more it costs you for this event. Interestingly enough, a bit of the backstory, we sent in all of the necessary paperwork that would allow us, because all they really needed to know was, when did you start? Did you start within the last year to qualify as a startup? Which we did. We met that, checked that off. In addition to that, we submitted the website they wanted to know. They wanted to know if we had a pitch deck. All that information was sent. And do you know, after sending that information to them, they took them 48 hours to get back because they have a team that looks into this to determine, do you meet the criteria? They said, after looking at you guys, we have determined that you don't qualify for the startup pitch, which was confusing. And the response was, the reason why you don't qualify, after looking at what this company has done, you are too advanced in your operation to be considered a startup company. Of course, there was a rebuttal to that, in the fact that a date was submitted to verify when we started, because that was the main criteria. And after looking at this again, they acquiesced and said, okay, we will allow you to participate in the startup pitch. But here's what we learned from that. What came out as a result of this is really understanding the power of what we have as a company and where we are, what we're poised to do. And they admitted, we just haven't seen another company has done anything like this in such a short period of time. We had to verify and confirm that we have launched this year. We're not a company that started a year and a half ago. This happened in 2024, which was shocking to them and surprising. So Blockchain Live 2024, so you can see the dates there, October 22nd through the 23rd. We will be featured at this event. All right. Back to you, Antoine.
You know, that's fantastic, and it just goes to show that we have come a long way, and we've done so much in such a short period of time. You know, I kind of relate the opportunity to the beginning of Bitcoin, when the first Bitcoin servers were available. Now, granted, I know this is not Bitcoin. Come on, everyone. I get that. But this is as significant because we're at the beginning of Nextcloud. And when you read the white paper and understand the technology and understand the difference that we're going to make, not only in your world, but in the world, then you'll understand how big this is. So a lot of people missed the Bitcoin opportunity. A lot of people, they were not there when Bitcoin was $30 and when it was, $15 and $50. They didn't get involved until it was, $20,000, $50,000, right? And so based on what we have, we're solving a need, helping companies save on a bill they have to pay anyway. When we get off this Zoom, I want that to resonate with you. Just walking down the street or in the house, just say anyway. They got to pay it anyway. If there was a Nextcloud or not, they got to pay it anyway. And if we can help them save up to 40% on a bill that they have to pay anyway, and there's proven technology to show it, and then we can earn from that, that is next level. And so we're going to be able to impact the world. We're going to be able to reduce carbon footprint. We're going to be able to do so much through this opportunity because this is long-term and this is traditional business. And we've got something very, very valuable, and we feel very blessed for you to have chosen to be a part of it. So I want to thank you guys. As soon as we get the green light to have overviews where you can then introduce others, we will let you know. We will set up those calls. I will get with Dr. Buck, Dr. Buck Parker, and we will let you know so that you'll have that opportunity to introduce others. But until that time, we want to make sure we service the community that we have now and service you right.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Antoine. Do you guys want to take any questions? I don't know if we have too many this round since we haven't got the servers out yet, but I think, if you guys have anything. So we have the referral program. I think we're just going to wait to talk about that when we get everything situated, because I think that'll just confuse things and bring up a lot of questions that we just can't answer yet. So I think unless anybody else had any questions, sounds good. Thank you guys for the update. Really appreciate it. I'm just as excited for you guys to get the servers as you are. So I talk to Donnie and James, a couple other guys all the time. I'm like, man, I can't wait. So looking forward to it. But thank you guys for all the work. Sorry, Mark, you've not been sleeping. Happens sometimes. So
awesome. Okay. If you guys are not part of the Telegram chat, we'll make sure you become a part of that. We'll let you know exactly when the free NFT will be available and loaded. We'll let you guys know.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, Buck, I got a quick question.
Sure.
When the boxes do ship, if you ordered more than, let's say you have 4 boxes coming, is there a way to identify which box is being tied to which NFT in the app, or do you just plug it in, wait a couple seconds, see which one it is, and then write down like serial number 1234 goes to my Hercules Max, serial number 1235 goes to my Zeus Pro? Is there, or will it on the outside of the box say this one is assigned to this ID number or NFT number?
So on the box, there's going to be something called a host name.
Okay.
Or it's actually on the it's going to be on the device also, and that host name, the last 3 digits will correlate to your name of your server will change. So like if you have Hercules Max, you'll say Hercules Max YF2 or YF3. And then you'll know that's my YF3 server. And then you'll see the host name will say NXQ ZWW YF2. And you're like, okay, this server's that server. So there'll be a physical representation. But for those people who have one or two, you just plug them in. They do that. They work by themselves. They'll show up which one. We actually worked a little bit on the logical code on that last night. We didn't really predict that we would have so many people who own so many. And when you own a lot of them, there's a lot of edge cases with how they connect when one goes offline. If, you know, it turns into a big challenge to make sure that pretty much theoretically you could have more servers online than you have NFTs. And if one server failed, then that server would kick in for that NFT and start earning. So theoretically, we actually thought about that, and that's something that we're implementing in this like update where these servers are reconnecting. So to answer your question more succinctly, there will be a way for you to identify based with the device, and then when you plug the device in, it'll show you what NFT it's linked to.
Thank you. And will we be getting an update through the App Store, or will it just kind of push down through the app? Should we look for downloading a new version?
No. It's all in the app already.
Okay.
So it just theoretically, when you plug it in, it'll just come alive. You'll go to that screen, and where it says offline, it'll just be online, and it'll see NFT linked to it, and everything. You just plug it in, and if you unplug another one and you plug a different one in, it'll come online. You
Perfect.
plug more in than what you have, it'll wait till one of them dies, and they'll connect it by itself. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have more NFTs, and let's say you have 20 NFTs and you plug in 5 servers, then the NFTs are constantly looking for another server. And when the moment you plug in another server, it'll connect it by itself.
Okay.
So all of that was affected by the code we changed. And that's actually what we're trying to, I guess I'll use the word fix. It was working before. That's why I keep telling them it was working before.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Mark, James is asking, will the app, so essentially James, he's asking, will the app show the ETA on the servers and things?
Yes, it will. We kind of pause that because at this point they're kind of all technically in testing.
Yeah.
But when we put them all in testing, it creates another problem in our back end because we only have so many portals, because we actually do some service, we actually do something with them with the back end. So we have kept there's only a few of them, and there's only, I think, 30 or 40 of them in testing right now. And so we can't put anyone else in testing right now until we get those off, because we need those ports to run a certain script to test it. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes, I mean, basically what you're saying is sort of when this gets sorted out, then the flow on the app will be correct and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Everything's kind of paused because they're stuck in testing, so we can't put any more in testing.
Okay. I think we kind of answered this last time. Will the bandwidth determine the number of servers? I think basically the bandwidth determines sort of your earning potential. And that can change, I guess. How would you put that? Like you sort of can max out or if the more servers you put on, maybe you'll max out your token for that bandwidth. But it doesn't, you could add more servers, but it may not get you any more earning. So
yeah, I think
bandwidth is more
right. Every ISP is a little different from what we've been testing, and that's a very good question, because I think we have made a change this week where we're going to lock the ISP value. Probably, I think it's going to be at 50, just a median for everyone. Part of the reason what we're realizing is that how the speed is determined. Like I have a monitor, like we can monitor these devices, and what we're learning is that ISPs kind of scale. So they actually change their bandwidth as based on demand. So we may pull, like if we do a hit and test your speed, that may not be your max speed. We have to test it a couple times at a different periods under different loads. So this is something that testing just showed us that, we can have ISP and it's at 80 right now, but 200 in 2 hours, right? And that could be because someone else used. So what we've decided to do, so to be fair to everyone, because the way our script runs, in about 8 seconds, it calculates everything. And those 8 seconds may be a low period of time or a high period of time. So we're going to set everything at a median. So everyone's going to have a decent cloud score. And then what we'll do is over a period of time, we'll keep pinging it. And then probably, we probably won't change it right away because you guys are beta testers, but all the ones who are higher, we'll kind of start adjusting them after we ping them enough and know that they're significantly higher. So there's going to be a lot of nuances that we'll share once you get the app and once you get the device, you start seeing it because we're constantly evaluating. I think I had one of the guys that say that what we do is everything that we do, we're always trying to make it better. So it's always constantly changing. So there's a very good chance that by the time you get there, there'll be different things that we've kind of done just to kind of aid the whole process and the experience.
Okay, yeah. Then Chester asked if they upgrade their service at some point, say they start out with a 1 gig and then they upgrade to like 2 or 5 or whatever, it'll read that automatically. Yeah. Yep. Kyle's asking if we have an ETA on the pre-sale tokens.
The code is actually running right now, but we deliberately haven't given out the wallets. Part of the reason is just we kind of have changed a couple of things. The organization is getting a little bit, I'll use the word structured. And so there's different checks and balances and code reviews and testing periods. So we're moving a little bit more to a more corporate style. So although the code is ready, it hadn't been completed code review and it has not gone through security compliance. I know it sounds kind of weird, but the company, the level of code that we have and the implications based on the last vulnerability, it's the only way to kind of minimize that in the future. So you guys will be notified when it's available. I've tested it, it works. And it's working in real time where that's all working, but it's going through a channel. So, you guys can expect to get a push notification when you get your wallet address. They're all assigned right now, but we're just kind of taking things a little slower to make sure that they're done right. That's the easiest way to say it.
So what you're saying is things are getting serious.
They're very serious, actually. Dr. Buck, they're there. Yeah, it's gotten pretty big very quick, and the implications are very vast. So we have to kind of deal with it a little differently than, hey, yeah, run a script. Yeah, we can't do it anymore.
Good. All right. I don't see any other questions. Unless somebody has something, so you could stick it in the box, or you could just unmute yourself and ask if you want. But I think that was pretty good. Anything else you guys want to say? Jason, Antoine, Mark?
Real quick, Buck, I've got a question as it
Yeah.
relates to the pre-sale tokens and then tokens going forward.
Mhm.
Obviously, where we are holistically as far as investment in Nextcloud, it's accredited investors. Will that also convert to the tokens as well throughout the life cycle, that only accredited investors will be able to buy the Nextcloud token, keeping it within regulation?
Mark, I don't think.
Your question is actually a very good question, and it makes me understand that you understand securities law. And so let me cast a little light and give you a couple of facts for you to consider. So you use the word accredited investor, which basically means that you're looking more under a 504 or Reg D, Rule 144 type of exemption. Now, I want you to be clear that this first offering that we have that's readily available is through a Reg CF, right? So that Reg CF is that investment is in a form of a safe note. And by you investing in that safe note, as you know, the SEC allows for the issuer to give perks, right? Or give bonuses. And so the NFTs are actually a perk or bonus that's being treated as a investment because we locked it for a fixed period of time and you're required to sign an investment contract and the rules and risks. Now, the interesting thing is the actual token. The actual token, it's actually treated, it's actually is a utility token. Why? Because we are a layer 1 blockchain, right? So it actually functions like nothing runs on Nextcloud without that token. So it's not a, you know, it's not an instrument, it's not a security, right? Now that what produces it can be, you know, that license or NFT, you can say that is a security and we're treating it as security. So now to get back, I answered the SEC part. Let's go down to the real issue. The real issue that you want to know is how exclusive this token going to be, and how easy it's going to be for to get it, and how do we regulate supply and demand? Was that be a more accurate?
No, actually, I don't. Really, what I want to make sure that we're preventing against in the future is that a 14-year-old buys the Nextcloud token, and then at some point the SEC says that 14-year-old just bought a security. So you did begin to explain it in that what you're saying is the utility token itself is Nextcloud. If it gets onto an outside exchange and it's not an internal exchange that only our team can buy and sell and others that are deemed accredited investors, that's not a security, and we don't need to worry about the SEC coming in a year or 2 years down the line when this thing blows up and is all over the place going, you guys sell securities to 14-year-olds. We're going to have a Wells notice, and now the whole thing crumbles again.
Right. Well, so
that's what a lot of us are worried about, because a lot of us that are on this call have been burned in other platforms, and we were attracted to this platform because of all of the due diligence that you all have done. This is just one of those things that have come up in my smaller circles of people that are involved in this of, yeah, but what happens if? And so that's why I wanted to bring the question.
Good question.
Yeah. Good question. I want to answer this question in a fact, right? The fact is that the SECs, they're excellent, and we need them. And the reality is that they're actually very easy to deal with. What they require is disclosure. And the moment that there's a group or a company that leads with disclosure, you don't get notices, you get a letter in the mail. Right. And they say, let's sit down and talk. And because I've sat down and talked with them. You know, they're not, but when you kind of try to do what we're doing without the 50 pages of here's all your risk, and there's no effort to be done, then obviously, you know, there's a different there's a different way they deal with that. So the reality is that, you know, we are always going to be forward thinking and always proactive, and the regulation doesn't stop here. It's constant. It's ongoing. The compliance that we keep very close. We actually got a notice from FINRA that they wanted us to make a change in the documentation. It came in, we made the change, we posted it. They're watching us, and we're talking to them. So most people are kind of saying, I'm not regulated by SEC. We're like, we're regulated. Tell us what to do, we'll do it.
And honestly, that's what attracted me to this. So I want that answer. I think a lot of people on this call want that answer that says, hey, listen, we are not looking to skirt any sort of regulatory issues. As a matter of fact, we want to be beyond button up because we believe in this project so much that having that infrastructure done and that solid foundation done in the beginning will make it where we can't get knocked over in the future. So I'm glad to hear that.
Mark, can you give him an idea of how long it took you guys to how long you were working with the SEC before we launched this?
We started probably in August, September. So the problem is they didn't want to, there's no way to classify what we're doing, right? And so they have boxes, and if you fit in one of these boxes, or you know, we don't know what you are. Clearly, you're not a security. You don't fit in the box. But then we can say, well, you're selling a license in security. So it took them a while for them, first of all, just to understand how serious we were. To be frank with you, but after speaking with them, what you learn is that their hearts are in the right place. They just want to protect people. They don't want people giving up a whole lot of money and not knowing what they're getting into. And so there's several steps to get where we were. We couldn't even get, so right now we don't collect our own investments. So we actually use a regulator, a FINRA broker. And that broker, we talked to several of them, and several of them said no. Not because you're not doing it right. We just don't want to be involved with it. So finally, we were able. We have relationships with different individuals, and they work with us. But even the escrow agent, because the broker doesn't even hold the funds, the escrow agent that holds the funds said, "Well, they're dealing with crypto. We want to deal with them." So we had to find another person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where we deliberately took it on the front end. So now, we got to send us. FINRA sent us something, and they said, "Please change this, this, and this," and the CEO signed the docs, sent them off. They filed them, and the last thing they said, it's not a major change. We just wanted more clarity. So we give them the clarity.
That's
So
great.
I'm really
Good
excited
question.
with these kind of questions, because part of the reason why I'm involved in this at the level I'm involved in it is because I have been, traditional business my whole life. But a lot of my friends and even close family members, they've lived in a space of gray, and they've always lost. And I feel that it's time for a company to lead with regulation. There can be no value without regulation. You cannot create value without being regulated.
Right.
And so we adopted regulation as a foundation. It took us longer to get regulated and did force to write the code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it did. The buck,
I mean, I'm not writing any code, but it took forever. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
these are
I
good
really
questions.
appreciate. Yeah, that's a really great question to have people
Great
here
question.
answer from you.
Mhm.
Because I'm sitting here, Mark and I talk a lot, and he's telling me all about this stuff, and it's just hard for RJ, and Donnie, and everybody to understand kind of what they've gone through and how sort of deep they are and connected, and the communication lines open. It's a completely different way of approaching it than DebtBox or even we did before. So I'm, super happy about everything, and how, of course these guys know what they're doing in that area. So it makes me feel a lot better. But I think going forward, people are going to start at, other people are obviously going to ask that question too, RJ, right? And then when they understand what happened here, it's just another thing that's so amazing about this company. Like when you start digging, you realize, okay, you guys made a groundbreaking technology, and then wait, you connected it to blockchain, and wait, you also are regulated by the SEC, like it's unheard of.
Yeah, well, not only that, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, if the plan goes accordingly, you're going to be disrupting a huge marketplace, right? I mean, cloud computing is the big thing. I mean, you just saw that Wiz turned down $23 billion from Google for their cloud computing security platform, right? And they've done $500 million so far. So it's a huge space. So that's another reason to have everything buttoned up, because you're going to have people like Google, like AWS, that might go, "Hey, look into this. I don't like them. See if you can tip them over," right? So that's another reason why I think knowing that you guys are dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's makes it, for all those of us that have invested money and will continue to invest money, feel confident with what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I do want to add one more thing before I turn this back over to Buck, is that we are our own worst enemy. And I'm going to say that again. We are our own worst enemy. We have to be careful with what we say and how we represent ourselves. And what I have learned, and this is working with, the SEC, just working with them, what really triggers them is false statements. Okay. And when people give information to mislead others or to entice them, and I'm just being transparent as I can with you guys. You know, if I have a wallet that has $1 million in it and I show it to you and say you need to invest, that's technically enticement, right? I can tell you the investment I made, I can tell you why I invested it, but we have to be actually very careful not to open the doors to unnecessary scrutiny by putting ourselves in a position where we become targets. And I think that we want to treat this as a traditional business. You know, when Apple wants you to buy Apple stock, they don't talk about their stock and their price and how much money they're making. They talk about the value proposition. They talk about what the change that they're making. They talk about why they're doing it. And I want that to echo from everyone in this room. Talk about the change, talk about the value, and talk about why. And that motivates people to do the research and dig into it. And just like Antoine said, read the white paper. It answers so many questions. It makes it very simple. And share that and lead with that, not with an investment opportunity, not with a way to make a whole lot of money in crypto, not with let's go buy some nodes. You gotta just don't be our worst enemy. That's all I have to say. Back to you, Buck.
Yeah, I think that, and that's leads into why we will be talking about the referral system today. We'll save that for another day. But yeah, we'll definitely get a good package for you guys to understand, you know, how to better present it to your friends and whoever you want to share it with. So, but I think that's about it for today. I don't see any other questions like that. Thank you guys so much. So should we have one on Thursday or want to do next
I'll say
Tuesday?
let's push this next call for Tuesday. We're pushing really hard. We're not gonna have an update. We really just discovered this morning about 5 a.m. What we need to do, and we do have devs on it right now. So I know I need about 72 hours. And we're gonna go through a test procedure this time. We're testing a little bit more than what we normally test because of that vulnerability we missed. So I would say Monday or Tuesday, that's going to be a good time for us to talk because I would definitely have a strong update by then.
Okay, sounds good. We'll probably do next Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
All right.
Jason or Antoine, anything else?
I'm good.
I'm good. That was great. Great way to end the call.
Very good.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you very much.